Now making a huge splash on his maiden voyage down Broadway, our very first square balloon. It's none other than SpongeBob SquarePants, furnished by, of course, Nickelodeon. And what an amazing technical triumph for Macy's design team.
I love this guy.
I do too.
SpongeBob lives in a pineapple under the sea in the city of Bikini Bottom, and now fans can soak up every second of this absorbing character's first full-length animated feature, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, now in theaters.
Al, did you say soak up?
Yes, I did.
SpongeBob has enough volume to absorb 101,000 gallons of water. That as he cruises by at twice the length of a killer whale.
Meanwhile, the St. Augustine High Marching 100 from New Orleans takes great pride in being the first African-American band ever to march in the Mardi Gras parade.
Just want people to know Al nearly got taken out by SpongeBob there.
By one of his shoes.
What an amazing performance and quite an accomplishment. Director John Riggle has been flying Matt hundreds of miles back and forth between all those islands or among all those islands, working with these separate groups as well as their local directors.
And they finally rehearsed together for the very first time just this past Sunday in Washington, D.C. So kudos to the kids, director John Riggle, and everyone involved. It's a great job.
Now they can pate, right? Okay, who lives in a fully furnished two-bedroom pineapple under the sea? Of course you know the answer to that. It's SpongeBob SquarePants, direct from Bikini Bottom, furnished by Nickelodeon and dressed to the gills in a smart red tie, chic shirt, and size 2100 shorts. All designed by Donatella Versucci.
Once again, the Krusty Krab's foremost fry cook gives high fives to pals Gary the Snail, Patrick Starfish, and Sandy Cheeks as he flashes those superstar teeth, each one the size just about like a boogie board.
SpongeBob weighs in today at 785 pounds, dripping wet, and all in all is bigger than a New York City hotel room. A more absorbing character would be hard to fathom.
Look what the tide brought in, that sopping wet superstar, that Johnny Depp of the deep, my man, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Furnished by Nickelodeon, this absorbing yellow optimist lives in a two-story pineapple under the sea, has adventures with Bikini Bottom buddies, and totally loves his job as fry cook at the Krusty Krab. Actually today, SpongeBob weighs in at 785 pounds, dripping wet, and today that's very fitting, and he's bigger than a New York City hotel room.
And Meredith and Al, did you know that SpongeBob is Macy Parade's first and only square balloon? That's right, and after the parade, he'll probably call pals Patrick, Sandy, and Gary on his shell phone before floating back to life in Bikini Bottom.
I love this band, playing simply for the pure joy of it. The only requirement to join the awesome second-time-arounders is that you've marched in either a high school or college band in your performance career.
Very cool. Having absorbed more than 16,000 cubic feet of helium.
Having soaked up the sights and sounds of Midtown Manhattan.
And having cleaned up ratings for Nickelodeon, SpongeBob SquarePants, overflowing with pride, makes his heavily anticipated airborne entrance.
SpongeBob and his friends are the creation of artist, animator, and former marine science educator Stephen Hillenburg. This porous star of Nickelodeon lives in the underwater city of Bikini Bottom, under a pineapple of all things.
Appealing to adults as well as kids, there is no doubt as to why SpongeBob SquarePants has become a household name.
Soaking up the sights and sounds and celebrating its 10th anniversary is that wholly optimistic sea creature, the one, the only SpongeBob SquarePants. From his home in a pineapple under the sea, this waterlogged star continues to entertain kids as well as adults above the 7 seas.
Do it again.
SpongeBob SquarePants. Hey, Patrick!
SpongeBob was created by Steve Hillenburg, a former marine biologist who fashioned his character after a simple, square sink sponge. Nickelodeon proudly presents this savvy sponge for millions of fans to see today.
Still to come, Jimmy Fallon sings, Snoopy flies, and country music star Billy Currington performs. All for Macy's 83rd Thanksgiving Day Parade, live on NBC.
Once again this year, the Emmy Award-winning SpongeBob SquarePants has surfaced from his pineapple home under the Pacific Ocean to absorb all the excitement above the streets of New York City.
You know, you start to understand why SpongeBob has that smile on his face. He continues to clean up in the ratings, being the #1 animated program among youngsters on television for 9 straight years.
Nickelodeon's yellow superstar Sponge squeezes all he can out of modern technology by hosting more than 11 million friends on Facebook and tweeting to thousands of fans about his current underwater activities.
Look in the background, straight out of Bikini Bottom, making his 7th appearance in the parade is pop culture icon and eternal optimist SpongeBob SquarePants. The Emmy Award-winning international superstar is seen in more than 171 countries around the world and has more than 28 million friends on Facebook.
Not only is this one of the parade's highest flying inflatables, it's also the first ever square balloon.
Question, what's that bright yellow spot in the sky? It's not the sun, it's that superstar from Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob SquarePants. Splashing his wide, toothy smile, SpongeBob has a lot to be thankful for in this Thanksgiving Day.
He's starring in his first ever stop-motion animation special. It's a SpongeBob Christmas this holiday season on Nickelodeon. The DVD and soundtrack are available right now.
Hold on to your hats. Here, holding on to his hat and coming to us from his pineapple home under the sea, SpongeBob SquarePants. Everyone's favorite yellow sponge stars in the hit cartoon that chronicles his nautical and sometimes nonsensical adventures.
The Nickelodeon series has been the most watched show with kids for the past 12 years and is seen in more than 170 countries.
Making his 11th triumphant return to the big parade, that cultural icon, SpongeBob SquarePants. Floated up from his pineapple home under the sea to swim above the streets of the Big Apple. SpongeBob, the incurable optimist, is the star of the #1 animated show for kids and adults, in which he and his Bikini Bottom buddies enjoy various nautical nonsensical adventures.
Be sure to see the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, in 3D this February. And, of course, you can soak in SpongeBob every day on Nickelodeon.
The elf balloons escort in the Jolly Man of the Hour. It's time for the grand finale. Santa arrives next when the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade returns live.
From the sharks undersea to overhead, it takes an army of about 75 people to keep in tow the world's most adored yellow sea sponge, SpongeBob SquarePants. The animated comedy follows the nautical and sometimes nonsensical adventures of the incurably optimistic SpongeBob and his bikini bottom friends.
And as you feast your eyes on our only square balloon as it floats by, remember to soak up the newest episodes of Nickelodeon's SpongeBob SquarePants. Be there and be square.
They perform We Need a Little Christmas.
Hold on to your hat. SpongeBob SquarePants is rushing in, trying to hold on to his. The celebrity sponge in the sky is in the 17th year of chronicling his nautical and sometimes nonsensical adventures. As a global pop culture phenomenon, SpongeBob continues to be seen in more than 185 countries and translated into more than 50 languages.
You can deep dive and catch SpongeBob and his Bikini Bottom pals every day on Nickelodeon.
From Pflugerville, a suburb of...
Master of laughter and pop culture phenomenon SpongeBob SquarePants is bobbing down the parade route, soaking up the adoration of his fans. SpongeBob and his Bikini Bottom pals swim it up every day on Nickelodeon.
Guys, so here's a little fun sponge fact. If you took all the ropes on the outside and the inside of this balloon and then laid them end to end, they would stretch the entire 2.5-mile length of the parade route. Did you know that?
No.
I didn't think you did. Not only is SpongeBob one of the parade's highest flying inflatables, it's also the first ever square balloon.
The makers of King's Hawaiian.
That is terrific. Marching Tigers Band is in its 35th year. They've performed all over the world, including France and England and Spain, and this is their third appearance at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
And we would recognize this guy anyway. Here is SpongeBob SquarePants, the top star of Bikini Bottom. His Emmy Award-winning Nickelodeon series will celebrate its 20th anniversary next year. And the SpongeBob movie, It's a Wonderful Sponge, is set to make a splash in theaters in 2020.
Yeah, the big yellow sponge in the sky is soaking up the crowd's praise for being the first ever square balloon. He's being pulled into his signature shape by more than 800 internal tie lines and kept under control by 90 strong rope handlers. Hats off to these guys.